Good morning. This is ARLENE INOUYE, UTLA Secretary, Speech and Language Specialist, here representing all of the officers on this Wellness Wednesday. Now, May is recognized and celebrated for lots of things. For International Workers' Day, Teacher Appreciation Week, Better Hearing and Speech Month, and also the Asian Pacific Islander Heritage Month. May is also nationally recognized for wellness and mental health. So this Wednesday, today, and every Wednesday morning in May, we are going to focus on ourselves with UTLA Wellness Wednesdays. It's been 8 weeks now, nearly 2 months, since our lives were upended with the coronavirus, and a lot has dramatically changed. So we want to pause. We want to stop and just ask, how are you taking care of yourself? How are you doing? We know that as teachers and health and human service professionals in a female-dominated workforce, we often take care of others before we take care of ourselves. But if we continue on that way, it can lead to consequences on our wellness and our health. So we're so fortunate that we have mental health professionals in UTLA whose job it is to focus on wellness. And they have many resources to share with us and information. You can find it on our website. And they're going to be here talking to us and sharing with us each week. They help us with our students, and they will provide resources for the families we work for. Psychiatric social workers, PSW, pupil service attendance councils, PSA, nurses, psychologists, our special educators, related services, and classroom teachers. We all provide that community of caring in our schools, and now we're doing that virtually. So every UTLA Wellness Wednesday, we'll be hearing from our UTLA Health and Human Service professionals. And today I'm so happy to introduce Dr. KIMANI NORRINGTON-SANDS, a licensed clinical psychologist, and also PSW counselor, CHERYL Kono. And they're gonna launch off the series with us this morning about wellness, how we look at it, how it's defined, what we can do for ourselves, for our students and families. So write in the chat box, give us your questions, your concerns, everything that you want to share with us. Let us know what you're doing for wellness today. And let's lift each other up. Hashtag UTLA Wellness Wednesdays. And now I pass the baton to KIMANI.
Thank you, Arlene and the UTLA leadership team for providing this courageous forum to talk about wellness and mental health. I want to also give a big shout out to our teachers for Teachers Appreciation Week, as I'm the mother of 2 LAUSD students. And hello, welcome. Welcome to UTLA Wellness Wednesdays, and I hope that you will join us for future sessions together. I do want to acknowledge, as we talk about this issue, that we are living in very uncommon times. My name is Dr. KIMANI NORRINGTON-SANDS. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist, and we're here to talk about wellness and mental health, but to also understand, as I mentioned before, that we're living in unprecedented times. And during times such as these, which we've never been in before, it's very important for us to really nurture our wellness and our mental health. And I want to start with an affirmation that I say to myself. I say a daily affirmation to myself, actually, to help myself feel grounded and safe. So the affirmation for today is, I rise, we rise. So it's a reminder for myself that as the sun rises, I will continue to rise, and that we will get through this. We will survive, we will persevere, we will thrive together collectively. And the hope is that we come out of this stronger and we learn lessons to not repeat in the event that something like this might ever happen again. So as we talk about wellness and mental health, and May is Mental Health Awareness Month, I do want to acknowledge when I talk about wellness and mental health that there very interchangeable in terms of the words and the concepts. So when we think about wellness and mental health, both deal with how we think, how we feel, how we relate to other people. And when we talk about our Wellness Wednesdays, we're going to talk more in terms of really understanding wellness and really addressing and providing strategies to deal with the stress level that we're under at this point. Because we're not here to just say, oh, exercise more or eat a different diet, because we understand that right now we are living in an environment where there's a lot of uncertainty. And so it's very important for us to acknowledge that, first of all, and to utilize strategies to help us cope with this uncertainty. And changes in terms of our work, that we're home, many of us are dealing with our own children and keeping up with their workloads. So there's a lot going on. So when we think about wellness and mental health, as I mentioned before, it deals with similar concepts. And so when we think about wellness, many times people think about it in terms of physical wellness. But wellness also is on a continuum, and it includes mental health as well. And so when we think about mental health, we often think of, many people in terms of the stigma of mental health, think of mental health in terms of you're crazy, there's something wrong with you. But just as wellness is on a continuum, mental health is on a continuum. So it ranges from mental wellness to mental health challenges to mental illness. And so many of us, during the course of our days, we have up days, we have down days, or good days and bad days. But many of us may recognize that during this time, we might be cycling through these up and down periods or these good and bad periods during the course of one day. And that can feel very unsettling. I know that happens to me. And we need to remind ourselves that, number one, no, we're not crazy, but to acknowledge that during this time, it is unsettling. So part of the first step in terms of wellness and grounding, because wellness is the core of who we are, is acknowledging that we are in a time that may cause feelings of unsettlement, right? Sometimes you may feel really good, really confident, feel safe in your environment, and then other things may happen to kind of throw you off. So it's important to, number one, acknowledge that. And the question is that we reflect on and ask ourselves is, how do we sit with that uncomfortable feeling while also doing things to help nurture our wellness and our mental health? And so that's part of what we're going to be doing during our UTLA Wellness Wednesdays, is to talk about these different issues and offer strategies to help us feel better. Because we understand that just as our kids that we work with, if they're not well, they're not going to learn. Just the same for us, that if we're not well, we're not able to foster and support the academic progress of students or the social emotional well-being. So it's very important for us to take care of ourselves so that we are in the best position to take care of and be with our families and to support the students and families that we work with. So at this point, I'm going to transition to my dear colleague, CHERYL Kono. And when I say I'm going to pass it off, it's like a relay, like a baton. So I'm passing the baton off to my dear colleague to emphasize that wellness, we're all in this together, as I mentioned before with the affirmation, I rise, we rise. So we're all in this together. And we're working together as a team to offer support. So when we think about the relay, it's not in terms of a race, but it's more so in terms of a marathon, because we're in here, we're in this process, we're in this wellness resilience process for the long haul. And so when we think about that, let's think about a marathon. So as Nipsey Hussle says, the marathon continues. So I look forward to seeing you during our next UTLA Wellness Wednesday, and I wish you wellness.
Good morning. I'm CHERYL Kono, psychiatric social worker representing Student Health and Human Services. I hope everyone is doing well during this COVID-19 pandemic and at-home learning. Throughout the time that I've been working with students, parents, and talking to staff, I have listened to a lot of people's challenges, difficulties, and stressors. So during this time, it's not like any other time that we have experienced. So I wanted to share some of the challenges that people have been facing to help everyone make connections with one another and to be very inclusive. So one of the main areas has been feelings of stress, sometimes fear, anxiety, sadness, grief and loss, and many other types of feelings as we've been going through this process of not being able to see our friends and family, our students, and our schools. The second area has been our motivation level. So I think that it's been fluctuating. For some people, they may feel extremely committed to doing their work at home, the students doing their schoolwork, but at other times they start to lose motivation, and sometimes it is difficult to get going or keep oneself going forward because there's so many different things that we have to think about and feel while we're trying to get ourselves back to normalcy. The third is basically at times people may feel very isolated and alone, and or they might be with their families and maybe they don't always get along. Maybe there might be some difficulties in communication, getting along with each other. And in addition to that, there's a lot of responsibilities. Not only are we trying to do our work, students are trying to do their classwork, homework. We also have to take care of household responsibilities, chores, cooking and cleaning. So we really want to figure out ways in which to take better care of ourselves. Also, some of our students and families, as well as staff, may be facing economic or financial difficulties, as some people have become unemployed or underemployed, laid off, and are trying to work through that process financially to figure out how to make ends meet. And so that also creates challenges. So what I've been noticing is as I reach out to students, families, staff members, I've been able to really listen to their stories. Listening to people's stories is crucial and important. Sharing your story is really important as well because you're able to express your thoughts and feelings, build relationships, and make connections with one another. So we think this is really important. So what are some of the things that we can do as protective factors to really figure out ways we can be resilient, to bounce back during this time and connect with one another and support each other? So as I've been talking to students, families, parents, and staff, we have come up with multiple ways to take care of ourselves and take care of each other. And so I did want to first start off by sharing this wonderful collage which came from my students, talking to them through my mental health awareness club as well as a leadership class. So this particular sheet they came up with was take care of you. As you can see, there's so many different things you can do to take care of you. As it shares loving one another, loving thyself, spending time with family, being thoughtful, listening to music, writing music, making sure to focus on your breathing, doing relaxation techniques, making connections with others, family, friends, staff, maybe people who you haven't talked to in a really long time. These are all the wonderful things you can do. You can read books, you can write books, you can journal. I think the list is endless. So in addition to that, I really find that whenever we face challenges and difficulties, we want to reach out and make sure we look at these three main areas. One is really having a positive outlook and attitude. By being able to appreciate what we have, appreciate our lives, and appreciate each other, It's really important. Sometimes there might be a lot of negative thoughts that might come to our minds, and what we want to do is be able to think positive thoughts to take better care of ourselves. The second is really reaching out and developing our positive support system. We are support systems to one another, our friends, our families. We reach out to students as we are their support system. If you were to send an inspirational message, a check-in, just to see how they're doing and how they're feeling, it's really important and makes a significant difference. As I've been talking to students, they have really felt that positive impact. They really appreciate all of us as staff members reaching out to them, contacting them, calling them, emailing them, and just connecting with them. Third would be our spirituality, and also our cultural beliefs and healing. So whatever spirituality you might believe in, it's really important to connect with that, to be able to have a sense of hope, a sense of inspiration, knowing that we are all connected to one another, and that it's really important to be able to do all of these things with each other and support each other. I do want to also then talk more about healthy coping skills. And as I mentioned about the self-care that we came up with, there are many things that we can do to take care of ourselves and make suggestions to one another. If we're having trouble or difficulty or facing challenges, or students are, or parents, we want to make sure to reach out to access resources. There are numerous resources available, not only through our school community, but also our outside community. We have put together, through Health and Human Services, a wonderful toolkit, which is on the UTLA website, which has services in all areas, from health to mental health, to food, to shelter, to clothing, financial support and resources. It's really important to reach out for the support, whether it be for staff, parents, or students.
Thank you, Cheryl, and thank you, Kimani, for all that you do and for sharing with us. And to our members, thank you for putting in the chat box your comments and suggestions. Know that the LAUSD hotline is staffed by our members and is available to all of us, not just our students and families, but to all of us. And check out the resources on our website, the toolkit, as well as LAUSD web resources that's available. So we'll see you next Wednesday. And as the Serenity Prayer says, peace and wellness to all of you.